So I tuned into the Karen Reed trial today, and I'm really glad I did because something very interesting happened. So they had this dog bite expert on the stand. Now, she's been on the stand for a couple of days. She testified in the first trial that O'Keefe's wounds on his arms and his torso were caused by dog bites. Now, there's no real science behind dog bites and identifying them. She admits that. She just says, I have a lot of experience in identifying these dog bites. Now, she also said, I cannot say that to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. Those are key words for an expert opinion. You really should be able to say it to a reasonable degree of certainty. She's admitting she can't do that. She's also admitting there's no real science behind this. There's only 2 articles that she can cite that she's evaluated and looked at all of these other cases. She can't say if it's the top teeth, the bottom teeth, whether it's nails and a scratch versus actual bites. There's a lot she can't say. There's a lot she tries to say, and she tries to stick with her defense posturing, but she can't say a whole lot of stuff to this reasonable degree of certainty. But the real interesting part came when the prosecution was asking her about O'Keefe's hoodie and these puncture wounds or holes in the hoodie, and he immediately goes into the fact and asks her, did you know that we tested those for animal DNA, for dog DNA? And drew a big objection from the defense. And then there was a sidebar. The defense moved for a mistrial with prejudice. Obviously, they're going to move for anything they can at every opportunity they can. But this was a good one because there was no direct evidence on dog DNA. So in the state's case in chief, they did not bring up any evidence on the lack of dog DNA on this hoodie, and they could have done that, but they didn't. So the defense is all pissed off about the fact that they are getting into it on cross-examination when nothing's been presented, there's been nothing entered into evidence, and of course the judge, being as prosecution leaning as she possibly can be, allowed them to do it, denied the mistrial, and allowed them to continue to question her with regard to DNA that has not been admitted. Now, the proper thing to do would be to bring these DNA experts back in on your next case, like on your rebuttal case. She gave them the opportunity to cross-examine this woman outside of the scope of her direct examination about evidence that wasn't in. Beverly, I'm going to be real surprised if you got a job after this next election. And yes, I did get a new hat. It was a gift. Thank you, Laura Lee.